Anatophobia, the fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. This is one of the most peculiar zoophobias. It often arises from a traumatic incident in childhood, such as being chased or bitten by an aggressive bird. Hippopotomonstrosesquipedaliophobia, fear of long words. The irony of this phobia lies in the fact that its own name is one of the longest in the English language. Arachibutyrophobia, fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of the mouth. This is not just an aversion to texture, but a genuine fear of choking or losing control. The sticky, viscous consistency of peanut butter causes physiological discomfort and panic, making sufferers avoid the product at all costs. Omphalophobia, panic fear of belly buttons. People with this phobia experience disgust and anxiety when they have to touch their own or someone else's navel, and sometimes even when they merely look at one. Popophobia, irrational fear of the Pope. This is a specific form of hierophobia, fear of priests or holy figures. It may stem from perceiving the Pope as an ultimate, infallible authority, evoking feelings of oppression and fear. Ketophobia, fear of one's own hair. This phobia is often a part of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The sight of fallen hair on a brush or clothing, or its touch on the skin, can cause horror. It may lead to compulsive cleaning and checking behaviors. Paganophobia, fear of beards. The roots of this phobia are often found in a negative personal experience involving a bearded person. Dextrophobia, fear of objects positioned on the right side. This rare disorder is closely linked to severe forms of OCD. It manifests as an obsessive need to organize one's surroundings, accompanied by intense anxiety when something is located on the right side. Metrophobia, fear of poetry. This fear can stem from negative school experiences, such as being forced to memorize poems or being humiliated for mistakes. It may also arise from a feeling of not understanding metaphors or hidden meanings, leading to anxiety and feelings of inadequacy. Lachanophobia, fear of vegetables. This phobia often begins in childhood and may be a symptom of avoidance/restrictive food intake disorder. It is triggered not by taste, but by sensory characteristics. The texture, smell, or appearance of vegetables can cause disgust and even panic. Geniophobia, fear of knees. A rare phobia that may develop after a physical knee injury that left a psychological mark. It can also stem from deep disgust at the sight of this joint or associations of knees with vulnerability and pain. Compoundophobia, fear of buttons. The fear often involves plastic buttons. It may be caused by tactile aversion to their cold, hard surface, fear that a button might come off, or associations with uniforms. It frequently appears in childhood, but can persist into adulthood. Ergophobia, fear of work. This complex phobia usually results from severe burnout, chronic stress, or traumatic experiences at a previous workplace, like bullying, humiliation. It can also manifest as fear of social interaction within a team or fear of responsibility. Coulrophobia, fear of clowns. This fear is linked to the uncanny valley effect. Unnaturally bright makeup and a fixed smile hide true emotions, creating disturbing unpredictability. Popular culture, which often depicts clowns as villains, only reinforces this phobia. Trypophobia, fear of clustered holes. Although not officially recognized as a disorder, studies suggest that the aversion to clusters of small holes, such as in honeycombs or lotus pods. By the way, I have this phobia. Somnophobia, fear of sleep. This phobia is often associated with other sleep-related disorders, such as parasomnias, nightmares, or sleep paralysis, or with fear of losing control over body and mind. For some, it also stems from the fear of dying in one's sleep, which can accompany hypochondria. Phobophobia, fear of fear itself. This is a metaphobia in which a person panics at the prospect of reliving the symptoms of a panic attack. The fear of these sensations itself triggers new anxiety episodes, creating a vicious cycle. Uranophobia, fear of looking at the sky. It can be related to agoraphobia, fear of open spaces, when a person feels exposed and insignificant beneath the vast sky. Sometimes it is driven by religious or cosmic anxiety, the fear of infinity or divine judgment. Amethophobia, fear of dust, usually a manifestation of mysophobia, fear of contamination, and often accompanies OCD. The sufferer experiences irrational terror at the sight of dust, viewing it as a breeding ground for germs, allergens, and invisible threats to cleanliness and health. Isoptrophobia, fear of mirrors. This fear may be rooted in superstitions, for example, that one can see something supernatural in a mirror. A more common cause is body dysmorphic disorder, where one's reflection provokes anxiety and disgust due to perceived flaws in appearance. Pediophobia, fear of dolls. A subtype of automatonophobia, fear of human-like objects. Dolls fall into the uncanny valley because of their human resemblance. Their still faces and glassy eyes evoke subconscious anxiety and the eerie feeling that they possess a hidden life. Globophobia, fear of balloons. This phobia is rooted in lygerophobia, fear of loud, sudden noises. The person fears not the balloon itself, but the unpredictability of when it might pop. The anticipation of the bang causes stress and avoidance of parties or celebrations. Cryophobia, fear of cold. It may develop after experiencing hypothermia or frostbite, or as part of generalized anxiety disorder. Cold becomes associated with illness, pain, isolation, and provoking panic upon contact with cold objects or cold weather. Arithmophobia, fear of numbers. It often manifests as a superstitious fear of specific numbers. However, it can also exist independently when certain numbers are linked to traumatic past events, causing irrational anxiety upon seeing them. Xanthophobia, fear of the color yellow. Like other chromophobias, color phobias, it can be linked to negative associations. Yellow is often connected with disease, warning signs, or a specific frightening object from one's past. Leukophobia, fear of the color white. A rare phobia, sometimes associated with hospital environments, sterility, emptiness, or feelings of vulnerability. White may be subconsciously perceived as a symbol of coldness, lifelessness, and isolation. Anablephobia, fear of looking up. This may be associated with acrophobia, fear of heights, fear of falling objects, or vestibular dysfunction that causes dizziness and imbalance when the head is tilted backward. Ephobophobia, fear of teenagers. A form of social phobia rooted in prejudice and stereotypes. Adults may feel anxiety toward adolescents' unpredictability, impulsivity, and potential aggressiveness, perceiving them as a social threat. Triskaidekaphobia, fear of the number 13. One of the most well-known and widespread phobias, rooted in cultural and religious superstitions. The fear is so strong that it influences architecture, the omission of the 13th floor, and behavior. People often avoid the number in important situations. Ablutophobia, fear of bathing and washing. This phobia, more common in children, is specifically related to the act of washing rather than to water itself. Causes include fear of water entering the nose or eyes, or the sensation of losing control in a slippery bath. Important to remember, any phobia, even a most unusual one, is a real anxiety disorder that can seriously complicate a person's life. Fortunately, most phobias are successfully treated with psychotherapy. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.